how am I going to move? You know what I mean? You see, all I can do is know that I know that I am, and I know I want to move. No, that's the end of it. You can't do anything, you know? Because all the neshama is self. You see the thing? All it is pure awareness of itself, and the fact that it could want something. That's all. That's the only characteristics that directly connect to its being itself. Anything that it's able to do about any activity of that has nothing to do with self anymore. It means that it has to have some koyach beyond the fact that it's more self. Well, what koyach is that? It has no other koyach beyond that.
The example of a newborn infant is the same thing, where it knows.
In a certain sense, it wants, but it can't move. I mean, it doesn't. It can, but it doesn't even know it's moving. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good. Exactly, that's a very good point. The mashal is very good. A newborn infant, since it has no shaykhs with anything, with reality, doesn't even know. All it knows is self. So therefore, all it knows is what? That it's aware of self and that it's hungry. It wants. It has no shaykhs to anything else. Because as self, that's all it can do.
Well, actually, a better mashal would be the baby in the womb, because once
this is really good. You see what I'm saying? Because an infant, which means a day old, is nothing more than self. I mean, it has a body. Technically, it can move, but these are all reflexes. There's no shaykhs there. It doesn't even know it moves. No, it's not related to itself. Whatever movement takes place is not related to the self of the baby. These are automatic things. You know, the sucking instinct, there's no shaykhs, so it doesn't even know it's doing this, really. The first day, all it knows is self, that's all. And it knows that it wants, it knows it feels frustration, it feels pain or pleasure, you see. Because that has to do with will, in a certain sense. It wants in certain, it needs one or two directions, you know what I mean? But that's it, but therefore what? Do something. What do you mean do something? What does it mean to do something? All I know is I experience the awareness of this pain, or that's all I know, that's all I am. I am the awareness of pain, or I am the awareness of pleasure. Ich bin das. You see what I'm saying? There's nothing else after that. Because that's all pure self really is. Pure self is nothing more, it's not only capable of knowing and wanting, willing. It's not capable of anything else. There's a reason why a baby can do something, because the body can do it, but the body really is connected to the self. You know what I mean? The truth of the matter is, I am not my body. You mean? If a man loses an arm, so what happened? He lost his self? You see what I'm saying? It's not connected. The body is the keli, or the vehicle that the Banishim put in itself where the self could move. The Banishim connected the neshama with the self, connected to a vessel, where just by willing, suddenly, I can move my arm. It takes, for example, put your arm on the table, for example, put it on the table, and pick it up. Why do you pick it up? Because you will. But what connection does that self have to do with the fact that your arm lifted? Nothing. You have no awareness of all the biochemical reactions that went on in this thing, or the whole mitzvah, the whole mitzvah, the whole science of movement has no shaykhs to you. You see what I'm saying? All you know is, I want to move this arm. And just somehow you exert a certain will, and the thing goes up. But, you see, but the connection is so incredibly direct that it feels like you picked it up. But you didn't pick it up. You just simply willed. And somehow there's a connection which the arm goes up. This is very subtle. You see. We don't realize that because we're so busy. You know, we see in our life, we think we are our body. You see. We think we are our body. We think that when I'm walking, I'm doing these things. I'm picking up the cup. I'm not picking up any cup. What shaykhs do I have to picking up this cup? You know what I mean? All I know is I want to pick it up, I'm aware of the cup, and I'm aware of myself, and I have the awareness of the vision and everything, and I will that I want it up. And suddenly I feel a certain sensation here. How do I know it's going up? Because I see the arm lifting, and I feel a muscular sensation of movement. But these are all sensations of awareness, that's all they are. I don't really know what's going on out there. Do you know what I mean? The whole thing is in the head. You know what I mean? It's all in my head, really. Well, you are doing it, but the truth of the matter, it's all in my mind, because vision is in the mind. You mean we all see this cup, but how do I know you and I see this cup the same way? We'll never know. You see, but the point is, this vision of this cup is something which my brain is producing. You see, certain light waves go on this thing, and it goes in my brain, it hits the retina, the optic nerve, and my brain produces this thing of vision. But a vision is an experience. It's a mental experience. The sight of the vision of this is behind my eyes. You see, it's not out in front of my eyes. We think it's not in front of our eyes, because vision it's a mental experience. It's an aspect of awareness. That's all vision is. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's all it is. So therefore, I don't even know what this thing really is in reality. So when I have my hand, I don't know what this arm really is, and I don't know what that is. All I know is my brain gives me a picture of something called this arm and some other picture, and then suddenly the self inside wills, and the picture, and then I have the sensation of the visions tell me it's moving up, and I see this thing which I see is my arm is moving up, and then I have this. A part of awareness is the feeling of motion up. But is that doing? That's not doing. What am I doing?
You're willing.
What am I controlling? All I do is will. And the person who created the Bria says that when you will, it does. Because it's the Buddhism that does everything. But you have the illusion that you do it. You see what I'm saying? This is a very subtle. If you walk out of this tonight, you will understand a very, very critical thing, an incredibly powerful thing. You see, truth is you are nothing but your awareness and your will. There is nothing more to you. Mamish. You can't do an iota, because only God can do. Do you mean?
Does that mean if somebody's wrongdoing, it's not the
You will that
in a sense it is.
because of the desire, the wrong desire?
Yes, the will. Because the truth of the matter is, what the Buddhism does thing, the only thing, now we get down the clear. We said before, sure, that's something else, that's a whole bunch of something, that's another thing. But 1 second, we said before that there's a problem with Namlik Sufa. What's the problem with Namlik Sufa? The problem with Namlik Sufa is that you have a neshama, because the eye says I can't handle that tava. I'm inclined, my will says I like it and this and that, but my eye has another thing which I don't need it, I don't do it. So the Buddha is in it. So the Buddha says, okay, you have to be the baal of that tava. You have to produce it. What do I produce? We don't produce it.
You have to do to produce.
What do I do to produce? So the Buddha says this. No, he says no. I will put you in a place called Elam Hazeh, and you have to go through Nisyanis and so on. All these things. So the Neshama says, really Nisyanis. What can I do? So the Buddha says, there's only one thing you can do. There's only one thing you can do.
What?
Will. That's your bias. You will. You will in the direction of what I want.
And it happens by magic.
And it happens.
By magic.
Or will in the direction I want. It also happens with Mela. That's what it says. Hakum b'tei shemayim chutz miyir shemayim. What does that mean? That's literally, Hakum b'tei shemayim means you can't do a thing. The only thing you can do is will. Because you shemayim is nothing more than will.
So now something.
You see what I'm saying? It's literal.
When the Shlomo came out from the cave and they looked and the thing burned, that was their will. And then it actually...
Well, yeah, the Buddha, you see, it's an illusion. The whole Olam Hazeh is an absolute illusion. It's an illusion that's called the Olam Asiyah. You know why it's called the Olam Asiyah? Because it's an illusion of doing. But it's an Olam Asiyah. It's an Olam Asiyah. The Buddhism is what's doing it. On this world, everything is done in a certain sense. You can do nothing. There's nothing you can do. The only thing you have Yeshaykhis is Yiras Shamayim. Yiras Shamayim is nothing more than I want, I don't want. And you can either incline in one direction. And we'll explain that a little more what I mean. That's all it is. Hakum b'tei shemayim. It says there ain't other. A person doesn't lift his hand l'mayla. What do you mean on it? What does it mean he doesn't lift his hand l'mayla unless they go to it? It doesn't mean that he can lift his hand, but they control it. They'll tell him where to put it. No, he can't even lift his hand. He can't do anything. Because pure self can only do one thing. No one will. There's nothing, everything else is outside of its being. It has no capacity of anything else. So no, everything is given to it. But we have the illusion that we do.
So if we want to do an Avera...
Total illusion.
So if we want to do an Avera, God does an Avera?
Yeah. Understand?
There's Ayn, Raya, the left climate, the climax of garments. So the climax of garments is already the...
It's all thing. I want it all climax in there. Yes. Because the Buddhism, that's what the thing, all Chatoim. See, that's why all Chatoim are done by the Buddhism.
But then on the other side, you have Machshavah Teva Kodesh Baruch Hu Machshavah Machshavah and Kodesh Baruch Hu. Okay?
That's something else. That's something else. That's something else. That's something else. That doesn't mean that a Machshavah Ra is not coming. Why? Because it doesn't mean that. What it means is that if a person who wills to do Machshavah Ra, what it means is the Buddhism does not, there's an aspect where will has to be manifest, or where will is sustained, duration of will. So that, for example, let's say I want to do something bad. I have a kavanah, will. I'm not punished for that, unless I use the kalim to do something bad. The will is sustained in a direction for a period of time, and in such a way where it's actually used to activate the kalim. That's what's poil, the hezek.
Like this.
But you're saying that
You
the
don't activate
person
the
himself is really only the will.
Yeah.
The kalim is really like sort of like whatever natural phenomena happening.
Yeah,
afterwards.
you're right. So therefore, what's the difference?
Yeah,
See,
so-
will is not a single entity, though.
No difference.
Will is Ratzon and Bechira.
No.
Something that gets you to actually.
No, because what it is, you see, for example, wanting to do something, there's something wanting or willing to do something or wanting to do something is the maisa or the pula that the neshama can do. You see, the pula that the neshama can do. However, what the Baruch Shem wants to know is how steadfast the person wants that pula. You see, you can manifest the will. You can have a machshava to do something bad. The Baruch Shem doesn't punish you. Why? Because the Baruch Shem wants to test how steadfast do you want to cling to that will. You see what I'm saying? He wants a barometer of how much will as quantity also. You see, if you will, even against obstacles, you see, then the Baruch Shem will move those obstacles and do the thing for you. But you're willing against, continuously willing. The Baruch Shem wants sustained will to do that. You see what I'm saying?
The only way to prove that
Is
actually
doing it. Exactly. That's in order to, because it means that your will is being sustained over a period of time by doing it. You see? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's what it is. But then, of course, you can't do anything. It's sustained will. See, the shayla is, what is the shia? Watson has a shia.
Comes out of matter or not.
Yeah. It's a shia. Watson has a shia. So the Baruch Shem tests for will. Fine. What's the shia? Everything has a shia. How much will is considered will to be, So Maisa is a proper, it's a simon of how much, of the sheer of will.
But
That's what it means essentially in that case.
Isn't this already getting into the divisions between Ratzon and Bechira?
In a sense.
Because Ratzon and Bechira are both aspects of will. Ratzon is the desire, and Bechira is the choice to be Mekayim that desire.
What'd you put in it?
Isn't that all things that... like I'm saying, if you have a will, but isn't it that the will is not Mekayim, that the Rabbi Shalom doesn't make the Maisa happen unless the aspect of Bechira comes in it, that you choose that this should be.
That's will. That's will. You want that.
Okay, but there's two aspects of will. There's
Type of will.
Ratzon and Bechira are both aspects of will, but they're two different types of aspects. One is like the...
Yeah, whether you're allowed to do it, yeah. We'll get into that.
What is it?
We'll get into that.
What is the point, the barometer?
Yeah, it's a shear of that kind of thing.
Yeah, but for a taiva there's no shear. The shear of a taiva is...
No, machshava taiva, no.
It's
Just the will of doing something taiva is a shear. What does it say? You know what it says there? It says there, what do you call it? Rashi says it for not. You see yourself. Remember, the Gemara Makkos there, where Rashi says over there that you learn that it says that
batteries.
No, 50 minutes.
Tired.
no, it's disappointed because there's more analysis, but you see that there's a Rashi that says that you see that the schar of a mitzvah is 500 times. Because it says that Api Shloshim Rabbeim, I forget the thing, it was the Gemara Makkos there. It's open the...
That's like Kaler HaChaim. Shem Hashem.
Well, you have it's remembered for $1,000 and...
Oh, Ma'aser Tov, so you see that it's remembered, yeah. So obviously the Shia Batov is much less, for Ma'aser Tov is much smaller than the Shia for Ma'aser Ruah. Okay, that's something else. Everyone understands up to what it says. I want to expand this to the absolute limit. And if you grasp this and you all fly away. I'm serious. You all begin to fly away. What do I mean?
15 minutes to go.
What do I mean? There's an incredible game going on here, which is mind-boggling, and you will see how deceived all you people are. The deception on you people is incredible. Not that you're fooled, but you see yourself now that you thought up to now. Can you thought up to now that you're doing everything? You see, you're doing nothing. Okay, but at least you're knowing this stuff. It's matter you're not even doing that. I'll give you an example. For example, what is awareness Awareness is conscious mind, right? What you are conscious of at that point in time is awareness. That's the emanation of self, right? For example, you ever notice we're all sitting here, we all do different motions, you know, each of the motion. And then you said, for example, you want to switch your motion. Like you're sitting in a certain position. Let's say in a few minutes from now you're going to switch the position. Did you think? Okay, now I didn't say like this last night, right? Did you think of switching this position? Yeah. Now, why would you switch that position? Why?
There's certain discomfort you feel.
Yes. Now, but this discomfort emanates from where? Not from your awareness. It doesn't emanate from self.
It's like breathing. You don't think about
breathing. No, you don't think about breathing. The awareness realizes that it becomes uncomfortable, so you move. Right? Where did this come from? It came from the body or some other thing, right? Right? Same thing with all your emotions. You're holding your hands and why did you just do that? Did you think that I want to do this? Was it a conscious decision? No. But in other words, most of the actions of the body are done without self being aware of it. Self is aware of it when it concentrates on it, after the effect. But self doesn't determine all the actions of the body, it's all automatic.
So a baby, when it starts understanding something, then it's aware of what it's doing.
Wait, everything that the neshama does.
It's looking at the hand. It's aware.
Well, in a sense, yeah. When it's aware in the beginning. Do you understand what I just said? Yeah. Every action which the human body does is not done by active awareness. It's after the fact. For example, each one of you sitting in a certain position. Everyone freeze at this point. All think of the position that you're in. Did you determine this position consciously? Why is each one sitting in a different position? Why? Were you choik of a dish? Did you think, well, why? Like, I want to go in a position which is more. Did you think it? What shaykhs you're thinking? Yeah? Like you just put your hand over here. Why? You understand what we're getting at?
Yeah, but there's certain things that you do are aware of what you want to do.
We're going to blow up this myth. One by one, we're going to blow up this myth.
Subconscious, you're talking
what?
about.
Yeah, and it's all this stuff goes on.
There are certain times you do things which you don't want to do.
Oh, that's zichar. That's another.
That's a habit. You're doing things
because you don't want.
You're going a certain way, and you don't want to go that way, and it's a habit. You just find out that you're there. You didn't make
the truth of the matter is the only thing that a person is really shaykh is awareness. Awareness is awareness, not non-awareness. All bodily activities go on beyond the conscious, on the subconscious level. So what shaykhs do we have to this?
None.
Okay, now let's forget, for example. I don't know if you ever notice this. Now we're going to the next subtle step. For example, is that okay?
Why are you laughing?
I'm laughing because I just had a thought. But you see, it's a 6 5, so what? He's getting me back. Let's go on to the next level. Let's say, for example, you're suddenly in the middle of something, and then you want to do something else. You direct your will in a different direction. You know? Suddenly you get tired. You say, I want to get up. And you walk away. You see? From the moment before a will is manifest, to the moment that you're aware of what you want to do, what changed from one thing to another? What moves a will from one direction to another?
It's a question from the body.
It's called outside of it. You know, some external situation comes in, and then the person decides, will becomes active, you see, and decides on something, and then becomes passive or active. But at any point in time, whatever you do, you see, is really dictated from the outside. Even your thoughts, for example, conversation. Let's say you and I have a conversation. I talk. You ever notice two people sit down and one guy starts talking about something? When a person is about to say something, what happened? He didn't decide that he wanted to say this. Suddenly it entered his mind that he wanted to say this. You know, like what a person says entered into consciousness, and then he said it. But how did he know? Why did he want to say this thing to begin with?
Because if he perceived.
Wait a minute. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, the truth of the matter is, if you really analyze it, all our machshavas, everything we do, has nothing to do with will. We are totally programmed. Totally. I don't know if you realize that. From the moment you get up and you walk and you do everything you do has no shaykhs to what you wanted to do, because at no point in time did you decide what you wanted to do really, until it came into your mind. But will didn't put something in your mind. You see what I mean? What? Someone else did. Once it's in your mind, then you can will. You see what I'm saying? Once something is in your mind, it's an object of focus, then you can decide yes, no, want, not want. You see? Oh, but you know what I mean? For example, I feel like taking a walk. Where did you decide to take a walk? Where did that come from? You know what I mean?
From the body.
It came from, not from the body, not even from the body, because the body doesn't decide to take a walk. The body may experience discomfort, you see, so it programs to move. But the decision to do something that has nothing to do with the body comes from where? You see, it enters into awareness, you see, and then you incline, should I do this or not? The idea of doing something enters into the mind, and then you decide whether or not you want to follow that idea. That's really what happens. You don't will for something to go into awareness. You never, because it's coming from outside of awareness. You only know what's already there. You can only decide on something which you know already. You cannot decide on something which is beyond awareness. But what our mind is something that things are continuously coming in to the mind, into our level of awareness. You see, it's like a funnel. We are not responsible. I want to say a certain muscle. For example, let's say you have a screen over here, right? You have a screen. Okay, and you have a lens in the middle, okay, and you have a beam of light, you have a lantern, right? The light shines through the lens, right, and it's reflected on the thing. If you turn the lens, then the beam is reflected in a different way, right? Human mind is a lens. That's all it is. It is not responsible for the beam. It enters from outside. It is that once the beam enters, it can turn which way it wants. That's what will is. So all the things which enter our consciousness out of nowhere, which most things are, you see, were not given to us, were not produced by us. Once they're in mind, we can decide whether to pursue them or not. And when we decide to pursue them or not, then the kalim take over. You see what I'm saying? All you can do is the light beam enters the lens, and the lens simply decides if it wants to move. If it wants to move, there's another mechanism which moves it.
So what is thinking?
What is
thinking?
A good piece of cake, and you want that piece of cake. It's probably your body that's causing the will, right?
No, not really. Because I'll tell you why. No, because the truth of the matter is, for example, I tell you also, it's your body decides which is hungry. Now, there's something called selective inattention. There are many things which we are continuously bombarded by stimuli from the outside. We see many, many things. But our mind is only focused on only a small select amount of the stimuli. We respond to only certain events, and the rest we just ignore. You see? That's what it is. That's how the mind is. The awareness just focuses on a certain item, and the rest it ignores. What chooses what it focuses on and really what it doesn't? You see, you saw the cake, and suddenly it entered your mind that you wanted to eat it.
My eyesight caused into my mind.
No. Your eyesight simply produced a neutral vision of a cake. You see? Suddenly there was this iris, that's all. You saw a cake, that's all. Your mind didn't say you were hungry. Your stomach said you were hungry. You see? Or the memory of the taste. Okay, then you pursued it, you see. But if you didn't have the feeling, or you don't think, you wouldn't respond to the cake.
What's that? You wouldn't respond to it. You see? What we really see is a very interesting thing, you see. What we see is a very important thing. That the truth of the matter is a person can do nothing but know and will. He is not responsible for anything above and beyond his awareness. You see. What the Buddhism is essentially doing, he gives him the kalim, the guf, and all the kalim in which to get something done. But even what the person does has nothing to do with the person. It is the Buddhism which is continuously programming in thoughts and ideas and feelings, and giving the person a choice what to do at any point in time with the specific thought or feeling that he has at that moment in time. You see? That's what it is. That's where Bechir is. You know what I mean? That's why the truth of the matter is you have no shaykhs to controlling your life whatsoever. You can't even control your body. You can't even control your mind. You don't even control the contents of your mind. Another example. Let's say, for example, I give you a certain problem, right? For example, 5 plus 4 is equal to what? 9. How did you know 5 plus 4 equals 9?
Muscle memory.
No, it's a logical thing, right? But where did it come from? What you did was you heard 5 plus 4, and suddenly the mind opened itself off, up for a second, and suddenly 9 flashed in the brain. Where did that come from?
Did you know the good, for example, when you have another problem in front of you, a certain thing that you have to solve a problem, you don't know where the answer lies.
You start thinking. What is thinking?
What is thinking? Thinking means to simply focus on a piece of information, and suddenly a new piece of information hits in the head. The Germans call it, what they call an idea, they call it an Einfall. Because that's what it is. It fell in. It fell in. For example, you have a kasha in the Gemara. You have a certain shir, and you want to figure out a teretz. You want to figure out a teretz for kasha. How do you even begin to know where to look for it?
But it's based on information you had before.
But all of it is pre-conscious. All is beyond your awareness. You don't think the only thing in front of you is the problem. So what you do?
If you had that information before, you would have had to come up with that idea.
You wouldn't have looked for it. You wouldn't have opened up your mind as a receptacle. The only thing the will does, it opens up the brain to receive information.
So
and then something comes in.
Are you saying we cannot store any information? There is no memory?
No, what I'm simply saying is storage, thinking, all these things have nothing to do with will. Have nothing to do with self. These are all activities that the Baruch Hashem is doing for you.
But you have...
You know what I'm saying?
But fish.
No, because you know from memory. No, you can't make what you want to make. You can't do what you want to do, for example. I don't tell you.
Listen, we have absolutely no control.
Thinking and mindful is just another extension of physical movement, like moving a hand.
The brain thinks. You don't think. There's certain physiological phenomena. What happens is, when the person wants to know something, what happens is he opens up his mind. He thinks on the fact for a second. So I want you to try and be aware of the moment. It's not even, let's say you want to do the problem. Be aware of the moment when you have the problem and you get the answer. What was the connection between the two? There was no connection. It's simply, at that moment, you simply it comes. Like you opened up your mind almost and something fell in. It either fell in from memory or it fell in from an area of brain called creativity, but it fell in. You don't consciously know what you're doing at each step of the way, you know what I mean?
It's impossible to
know.
Of
course it's impossible. Do you see what I'm saying? It's all automatic.
You can't think it.
It's totally automatic. For example, a baseball player in left field runs and somebody hits a high, fly ball on him. The baseball player sees it and he starts running for the ball. Okay, he runs the ball, runs it, and catches it. Now, you know what it is to run and catch a ball? What does it mean to run and catch a ball? The ball is going in a certain trajectory, a certain velocity. There's one velocity. This guy has to measure the speed of the ball, then he has to know his own speed, and he has to know exactly the point of collision. Do you know how much calculations involved in this? You know when you would appreciate this problem if you were programmers and you need a computer. Do you know what it takes to make a guided missile do this? That simple action for a guided missile to do that?
If the computer is done, you have to tell it exactly what to do.
Right, it's when you got to take an activity and break it down piece by piece by piece, you begin to realize what's involved in the simplest things.
And for
example, for me to pick this thing up, you know what's involved in me picking up this cup? It means that the muscles, the muscles are exactly coordinated with the visions, you see, and I have the feeling exactly where it is. There's a whole
series. You have to write the instruction of doing this.
It's a whole series of instructions. How does the guy know to it? Does the guy think of all this before he catches the ball?
No.
It's automatic. You see, it's all he feels is a bunch of feelings. He knows, he feels when he's running fast enough for the ball. He feels he's running, he feels that he's doing it right. But he doesn't know what he's doing. You see what I'm saying? All he knows is he wants to catch that ball. He wills, and suddenly the whole body goes in motion. And the brain and the body, with all a tremendous complex machinery, catches the ball.
He couldn't necessarily do that the first time he ever played ball.
Why? Which shows you, the first time he couldn't do it at all.
Why? So
the catch is that was if it's automatic.
No, because that's right. It shows that will can't do it. It is so. I understand what you're saying, but it's a bias one thing. If it was a question of his knowledge purely, then he could do it again. The problem is that it lies outside of his control. So therefore, the body has to learn the responses of how to do this kind of thing.
Well, and the question is, if it's automatic, then the first time it should have been automatic.
No, because then Will can do it.
No, but if it's automatic, it's something that he could do right away. He doesn't do it. The body has to learn the responses and the stimuli and so on. Because that's how the body has to have feedback. The body works like a machine. That's how they build all these. That's why they build all these cybernetics. All these machines are built on the same way the brain works. The notion of control, feedback, and it's all built the same way.
So that's the same.
That has nothing to do with sound.
9 is because you were trained to understand arithmetic.
That's right. The same thing with logic.
So it's not something that's just plain automatic.
No.